What is up? This is the War Dog. Welcome to another episode of Comic Book Theater with my main man, JR. What's going on, JR?
What's up, War Dog?
Not much. Today we got some awesome guests, Shane and Dustin. They have an auction on Facebook, and they're also running a Comic-Con in Cartersville. What's going on, Shane, Dustin?
What's going on, guys? What's shaking, Bacon?
It's nice and warm here in Georgia today.
Kidding. That hot Atlanta is hot.
We've been out in it the last 2 weekends, hitting the flea markets and everything.
We've been to ever.
Yep, if you don't build up a nice lather after about a half an hour being out there, then you're not in Atlanta.
That is the truth.
Very true.
All right, John, so why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about today, and I'll give it up to you.
Right on, man. Not a problem. Thanks, War Dog. Yeah, guys, normally our listeners know we try and do multiple topics. We try and be news-centric as far as the comic book community goes, that kind of thing. And something was kind of brought up again this week in the Collector's Corner that we're all familiar with. We're all veterans of social media and just the comic book collecting community in general. And this is one of those questions that comes up. It seems like every 2 or 3 months somebody asks, man, what do you think about the state of the hobby of collecting comic books? What are we close to a crash again, is the way a lot of people will term it, because we're all guys that we lived through the 90s. We know that in a lot of areas in the 90s, a lot of different collecting areas anyway, whether it's sports cards or comic books or fill in the blank, that's when they really started designing things to be collected and basically taking the value out of collecting a lot of things. So that's kind of –
and now.
Well, to a certain extent, I can see that a little bit, but this is my personal opinion. I don't think we'll ever see a hobby-wide crash the same way we did in the 90s. The 90s was a different animal entirely, but we can get into why I feel that way. You guys, let's go, man. How do you guys feel about – give me some particulars on why you feel the way you do about the hobby and what direction it's headed.
Okay. First of all, this hobby has changed a whole lot in the 35 years I've been doing it. Used to, when I set up at shows, I took just about everything that I owned and, dollar boxes, $5 boxes, $10 boxes, runs, sets. Man, people are just after keys now. The main thing that sells for us, low-grade keys, affordable keys, that's what people buy. Yeah. But one of the here's one for you. The artificially created collectibles, the books that are supposedly like what was that? That it was a zombie book with rags. That was an artificially created collectible. Here's another thing you may not have known, but these apps these guys are using. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name who it is, but publishers are paying them money to call their books keys and promote it. We know it for a fact. We're plugged in.
Yeah,
we know this for a fact. I'm not going to name names.
New issue books.
They are being paid to call those books keys.
Now, I will tell you that on one of the Facebook groups that I frequent that deals with investment and speculation, they actually showed a clip of another podcast. And this podcaster said, you guys know who I am. You know where I used to be affiliated with. And we absolutely, on our promotional list is what I'm going to call it. That way I'm not outing anybody exactly. Right. But the truth of the matter is, like you guys are saying, the information's out there. If somebody wants to research it, they can. It's there. I'm not saying it out of school, and I'm not saying it without seeing it with my own eyes.
I'm not naming any names.
Yeah. They definitely said they are involved in pump and dump.
Yeah.
They throw them on the list,
Mhm.
and it just so happens that they have a fistful of them to go out on eBay themselves. And what do you know? They're getting asking price for them. They're throwing them out there at buy it nows and stuff. And look, we're all influencers, really. Think about that too for just a second. You guys know as well as I do. And look, I don't want this to be misconstrued, because I think Brian Polito and Lady Death have a following regardless of
Right.
the corner.
Yeah.
But I will say this: whenever you got 17,000 people in a Facebook group, and you start to have people that are very passionate about a comic book that's not really mainstream,
Right.
you start to see that leak through.
Right.
And you start to see people invest and want to be a part of the crowd. And again, I'm not saying that we're just
not bashing anybody.
yeah.
No.
And so it's one of those things of, when you're an influencer, you have to understand that, and especially with like hot lists and top lists,
Right.
and all of these things, if you're not careful, you are influencing. And there's a way that you can, at the very least, have the appearance of impropriety.
Yeah. But it's at least unethical, but that he's taking money from publishers to call the book a key and call it a hot book when it's not, and it never would have been, but he's taking their money to pump it. And I at least think it's unethical.
Well, and like you say, it's one of those deals. We were talking a little bit before we came on the air here. We live in an information age.
Yeah.
And information is power.
Right.
And I believe that this is probably one of the times in human history where we're all on as level of a playing field in the hobby as we possibly can be.
Yeah.
You're not gonna walk into an LCS with Amazing Fantasies 15 and plop it down on the counter, and that guy in the back of his mind has to say to himself, okay, I know what this is. If I super duper lowball this guy, he's going to walk out because he's got the internet the same as I do.
Yep.
On the flip side, you guys own a shop. So you also know that if you're the one selling that Amazing Fantasies 15, you're going to get fair market value on it,
Right.
because people literally in the palm of their hand can look at it and say, yep, that's fair market value right there. They're asking a legitimate price.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just pulling that out of the air.
Yeah.
So now, and you guys use social media and the internet,
Yes.
for sales to help with your comic shop. How's that going for you guys?
Now, we no longer own a shop. We just a show, just a convention.
Oh, okay.
We were partners with a guy on that shop, and we were feeding him, his wife, and his 3 kids. And he was bleeding us dry, and he took us for about $50,000, and we walked. We took our stuff off the wall and we walked.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
And that seems to be.
But I'm going to tell you guys, don't open a shop. Do shows and conventions and Facebook auctions and stuff like that. You will make way more money. Now, the only advantage to opening a shop is you do have all the power, and people's going to bring you stuff. You're going to accumulate stuff. But me and Dustin go out and do the work. We do the footwork, and it pays off. I mean, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. That's,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And Todd is the guy who he's the guy who generally doesn't do a lot of hunting for those back issue things. But you guys,
look at what we found today.
We're
showing
out today.
Dustin.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's see them.
And they're Gem Mint. They're 9/8. We're probably going to have them graded. A guy bought them from Diamond when they came out, and I mean that's and we got more than that. That's just what we picked up today,
Dude.
But and we picked up a full set of the Punisher miniseries, and we're going in the morning. We're going to a flea market, an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
Way, but we're going to a flea market in the morning. I mean, because we have to keep stock. I mean, we've got plenty, but you have to have fresh stuff.
Yeah, we got the one to go with the Punisher miniseries, and we picked up that.
Just a random. I love Swamp Thing. I know it's not Alan Moore, but I love Swamp Thing, and I'll pay $1 for
just a cool cover. I mean, it's gonna go up on my kid's wall.
Yeah,
dude. I'll tell you right now, that's Swamp Thing is my most recent addition to my personal collection, and it's funny because I said it, I don't know, maybe a year ago, that people were saying if you're going to collect a series based on cover art alone, what would it be? First one to my mind was Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing or Miracle Man would be mine.
Yeah,
man. Miracle Man retard. I will tell you, I have all 24
single
all 24 of Eclipse. I have all of the Marvels. I have all 3 trade paperbacks and hardbacks by Eclipse, and I still buy them every time I see them. I bought a number 9.6 the other day, and another number 23 and 24. I buy them every time I see them because nobody else may care about them, but I do.
I mean, there's still deals out there, like out there in the wild. You go to flea markets and stuff, and I mean, we pick up stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, just for deals like this we picked up.
We found a triple signed Lady Death #1, the first Lady Death that came out right after Evil Ernie Eternity. Triple signed, even by Hughes, and it was Raw Comics. Got a hell of a deal out of that and sold it same day.
Immediately.
Sold it immediately. That was a beautiful book.
Oh yeah.
So
well, right, and really, that's where I love to be at, is in back issues and stuff like that.
I'm a dollar bin dirt bag. I promise.
That was a flea market.
Yeah.
There you go, Voltron, man.
Yeah,
sealed.
Still sealed.
Seeing stuff like that too, man. If you're willing to hustle and you know your stuff, it's like we were talking about again before we started recording, and I kind of want to touch on it again with you guys. We all have access to the exact same internet that everybody else has access to. Whenever you're out there digging and you're finding the steal of a deals, this is my personal opinion. I've got the same access to the internet that everybody else does.
Exactly.
I really don't feel that bad whenever somebody's selling, Silver Age keys or semi keys for like $5 a piece or $3 a piece. That doesn't bother me.
We bought a New Mutants '98 for $1 3 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And here's the thing though, eBay can work the other way too. It's a double-edged sword. We went to this guy's house one night to look at this collection. He had a big stack of Bronze Age books, and he had some Transformers that we really wanted, and he beat us to death. Well, I can get this for it on eBay. I said, well, man, sell it on eBay. Just let's stop. We're here till midnight. Well, we gave him like $30 for the stack of comic books, which had an ASM 238 newsstand with the tattoos in it. They had a Marvel Premiere 15 in it. He was more worried about the toys, and we got a stack of comic books over here that's had $400 or $500 books in it.
Yeah, we paid up for the toys, but he didn't care about the books.
He didn't care about the books. He just
you made it.
Books.
You got your icing on the cake with the books. Yeah, man. So
Premiere 15 in there. Iron Fist 1 through 15. I mean, it was.
And
we raked him over the coals on them, but dude, he deserved it because he was killing us. He would not give an inch on those Transformers.
See,
that was several years ago.
And I'm with you on that too. Whenever people tell me, "Well, I could get this on eBay for it," I'm like, "Hey, man, go sell it on eBay." I picked up.
I can buy it off eBay cheaper than
Yeah.
Another thing. That's a graded comic book you're talking about, and yours is raw. This guy assaulted me, physically assaulted me. He knocked the Overstreet out of my hand, and he said, no, that's for raw books. I was like, man, you've probably never even seen a graded book. None of your books are graded. They're all raw. But he said, somebody told me they would grade high. I said, man, first of all, you pick up your stuff, and then you get out of here as quick as you can before I beat you like I don't know you. You're lucky this is my show, and I paid $10,000 for this building, or I would be beating you. Because he assaulted me. He physically assaulted me. I couldn't find Dustin. Dustin was off busy dealing with other people. Luckily, my brother was there, and I went and got my brother. And I was like, sit right here, because he had brought a bunch of books for Dustin to press and clean. I said, get your books. And I said, you get out of here. I went up there and told him up front, I said, don't let him back in. I said, if he comes back in, just call the police. I said, he's assaulted me, and he's lucky this is my show, and there's $1 million worth of books, or I would be slinging him around like the Hulk did Loki in Avengers and knocking people's back stands over and everything else. He is very lucky because he treated me like I was his wife or his children. He is a very lucky man.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, it's amazing to me that some people don't get treated worse than they do as far as that goes. Because just like that, I mean, you guys, we've never met in person.
We will one day.
Yeah, oh yeah, we will for sure, dude. I'm sure of it. But I'm a rather big dude. Okay, so and that's not to say anything other than the fact that whenever I walk into the room, unless if there's a bunch of NFL guys hanging around, you're gonna kind of notice me standing there.
I'm the same way.
And to see people bump and knock into stuff and be disrespectful to other people,
yeah,
that just burns my hide, man.
Well, he was a Yankee. We're Southerners. We're used to respect. That's like the guy stole some stuff from us from Toylanta, and I was like, man, we think that everybody else is just as honest as we are. That's just not the case. Luckily, Dustin's a grocery store manager. Dustin went and found him, and he got our stuff back. He got everything they stole from us back, and that blew my mind. But I mean, I'm sure we get stuff stolen from us from every show, because there's a lot of things that, over time I've noticed, man, did we sell that or did somebody steal it from us? You really don't know. That's why you should keep track of your inventory. But we sell so much, it's kind of hard for us to keep up with our inventory.
Yeah, man. Well, now, and Todd, I'm going to ask you here real quick, man, bringing up whether they're Southerners or Yankees, you still consider yourself a Yankee, or are you a Southerner now that you're in Atlanta?
I think I'm probably a little bit of a mix,
You're a mutt. Heinz.
Yeah, I think, once you're a Buffalo guy, you're always a Buffalo guy. But when you move down here, I think you kind of loosen up and you start, like, I find myself dropping the word y'all.
Yes. Over yonder, y'all.
Yeah. I'm typing stuff out and I'm like, what's up, y'all?
Yeah.
Dude, so just the other thing too here that I'm going to touch on with you guys, we did the poll in the Collector's Corner about the state of the hobby, and overwhelmingly people have basically said that if you're smart about stuff and you collect what you love, none of the rest of this is all going to matter. So I know that we're kind of like mincing words and parsing hairs and those kind of things about it. I do kind of fall in line with you guys as far as the scarcity being something that's manufactured in a lot of books.
Yeah. Valiant did it in the 90s.
Yeah. And if it's not, I think if it's done sporadically, if it's done every once in a while, it can be okay. Mm-hmm. I think when you see it with every single book being released from every title, and everybody has a store exclusive, and everybody has, this, that, and
all those alternate covers, which those are not variants, they're alternate covers. A variant is a variation of the same cover,
book.
like a 35-cent variant or a Whitman variant or something. Those are not variants; they're alternate covers.
No.
But all right, like now here is what I did when the market fell out of it the first time. Okay, let's say, all right, New Mutants 87 was $100 book. Harbinger #1 was $100 book. And they dropped down to where they were in dollar boxes. I bought them up. I bought them back up. I was like, they're going to go up again. And guess what? They went up again. Ultimate Spider-Man. It was, #5 was a $200 book. Now you find them in $5 and $10 boxes. Buy them. They're going to go back up again. They are. That was a really good series. That is beautiful Mark Bagley art. They will go up again. Don't, buy them now. When something crashes like that, buy it up. I mean, that's because it will rise again. I promise. Like a phoenix from the ashes. But these movies are if the first appearance of the Defenders, Marvel feature #1, that book jumped up to $500, $600, $1,000. That terrible Netflix show, it dropped down to where 150. We had a 8.5 and we got 154. I mean, graded 8, we got 150 for it. That Netflix show just killed it. But that Netflix show was horrendous. That's 2 or however many episodes that each hours of my life I can never get back. Yeah, I mean, it was awful. It hurt my feelings. That show was terrible.
I mean, I remember back in the day, no joke, when Shane was running a shop down in Rockmart and everything. It was hot. It was summertime and everything. And down there in the shop, and he tells the story all the time. He grabbed a handful of New Mutants 98s and propped the door open with them.
Yeah, true story.
So he could get some air in the store. The air conditioner went out.
That is a true story.
No, I don't doubt that. And that's what people kind of failed to remember is there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of those.
Yes.
And dollar bins, $5 bins, whatever.
I still find New Mutants 87s in dollar boxes. I still find Batman Adventures 12s. The last one I got, somebody gave to me. Said, man, nobody's going to buy this here. I said, oh, okay, thank you. And
no joke.
As fast as I could and put it in the car. Then it got Mylord and backboard, and I sold it to Dave Shekel for $360.
Dude,
given to me.
Dude, that's the best right there, man. Well, but you got to remember too with those, like the animated series books, nobody takes those seriously if they're not in the know. And man, I still remember, and this is something that happened to me right whenever I was starting to get the Renaissance back into comics for me personally. I had moved back to my hometown, and I'm cruising through Craigslist. And I'm like, I'm just gonna check out comics, and this guy's got comic books listed, and he's got them listed like title, issue number, series, volume, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
Well, at the time, I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna get back into this. Let's get some Spider-Man and some Batman. And just the major, the big time guys that everybody knows.
Yep.
Let's get back into reading some of them and stuff like that. Well, anyway, make this long story shorter. He's like, this Batman beginning of Hush. I believe it's 612 or 608. 608. He's like, just so you know, 608 is a second print. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. And at the time, it didn't register with me at all.
That's a $150 book.
Yeah. He's like, I'm sorry, it's a second print. I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, it's cool, man. I'm giving you $2 for it. I'm not that. And then I start to go do my research, and I'm like, wow, okay, well, I didn't really get into Batman again and decided to stick with Spider-Man and some of that stuff. Dude, I traded that book for a couple of autographed books. One was a Secret Wars #8 that I proudly display in my house now, that's signed by Zek. Hang Hang on, I'm trying. I can't see.
Zach Beatty and Shooter
It's
probably.
Beatty. No, I don't have Shooter on there. I don't have Shooter on there.
It'll be easy to get Shooter. I love Jim Shooter.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping that I can catch him at a con or send it with Corey Pamel or one of those guys to get autographs.
Where do you live, John?
I live in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh.
So and we've got cons that come here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've written reviews for them on Outright Geekery, and even done a couple of interviews with people like Robbie Rist and Karen Nicole, who's AZ Power Girl. I've done those for the show here even. And so anyway, they're like a medium small con basically, really.
Mm-hmm.
Not anything like Planet Comic Con in Kansas City.
Right.
Or that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're not anything that huge either. We're shooting. I have invited Corey Palmell to our show. Tom Rout comes up. Tom's from Daytona. They live right around the corner from each other. I mean, he could ride with Tom if he wanted to.
Oh yeah.
I would love for Palmell to come, but I don't know what Palmell's doing these days. Things have changed.
He's hustling all the time, basically, and that our Germ Collectibles is keeping that cat busy like you would not believe.
The pizza place folded, didn't it?
No, actually, I think it changed hands. I changed hands, So, but I know that Gotham City Comics is still up and running the comic book shop, but he got out of that one.
Yeah,
I think there was some business issues there.
Yeah,
but I mean, dude, that's kind of the state. More of the state of what's going on too is, I mean, I've been doing the research on it. Diamond says how that their business is booming, but the truth of the matter is
they have a monopoly.
Yeah, they're the only game in town, so of course theirs is booming. But really, you look at it, and comic book shops in general are not booming as much.
Yeah,
You'll have a couple of chain shops like around here. Around here, I've got 2 vintage stocks in town, and I've got a couple more within an hour drive of me. I just generally don't have to make that hour drive, unless I'm working. But locally owned comic shops, man, they're if they are still dealing with Diamond, they're having a rough go of it.
Okay, but back when in my days of shop owning in the early '90s, you had, I think it was CBG. It was C something. It was a comic book distributor. They were here in Georgia. And Diamond had a distribution center here in Georgia, but in the mid '90s,
then you had
Marvel Comics bought Heroes, and they started. They weren't going to go through Diamond or CBG or whatever it was, and it shut CBG down. It just shut them down. Just made them fold. And but then Marvel, they started sending out books on Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays. And or vice versa, I can't remember, but Marvel screwed everything up, and then they filed for bankruptcy and gave Diamond a monopoly. I mean, they just handed Diamond the keys to the kingdom. Right. And all the newsstands are gone. There used to be distribution houses for newsstand books. That is gone. The newsstand, the death of the newsstand was the death of us getting new cats in our hobby. Because you guys remember the day of Mom going grocery shopping and us going over to the comic book rack and staying until she come and got us, and then us making our purchases. I bought 4 ASM 300s at Triangle Grocery Store for 75 cents a piece.
See, just like that though, so there is at least the DC books going into Walmart, and I mean, look, man. My 9-to-5 job is working in and around grocery stores and Walmarts.
That's what we done.
And the truth of it is, it's harder and harder even for regionally owned retail stores to compete with Walmart.
Right. You can't.
It's near
They'll shut a
impossible.
mom and pop down in an hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was, I was a butcher for a long time until I had 2 heart attacks and congestive heart failure and all that, and I had to retire. In my days of working, I'm disabled. I'm severely disabled, so I slang comic books. And now Dustin, he can no longer, because he was in a very bad traffic accident, and he can no longer work in a grocery store anymore. So, this is pretty much what we do now.
Yeah.
What's putting food on the table.
What's feeding us and paying power bills and putting new tires on vehicles and clothes on backs and caps in kids' teeth and everything else. So we have to keep hustling. That's what, like I said, I was like, man, I'd like to just rest tomorrow, but Dustin, we've got to go out. We got to go out and chase that. I mean, we got to go and go to a flea market and see what we can find. And we're on a hot streak, so keep it going.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because that's where it's at, man. But just like that, everybody's got a side hustle these days. And that's with me too. I'm the guy that's setting up in the flea market and sell. But I mean, you're not gonna find ASM 300 or any of that in my flea market booth. Now you might, I will say this, it's funny if you catch one of those back issues that becomes all of a sudden very hot, like Donnie Cates mentions it or something like that, dude, then you're in if you get to it before I do. But it's kind of a running joke around here that some of us guys who do flea market stuff, one of our best places we go to hunt comic books is back to our own booths, because you're like, oh man, that went on that's something that's going up because of this rumor or Donnie Cates said something or whatever.
Yeah.
I better go find that, because if I don't, I mean, look, I'll put it like this. The not first appearance of Sam Wilson as Captain America, but the first self-titled Sam Wilson Captain America. I gave that book away. I'm just like, here you go. And I know it's probably not going as high as his first appearance as Cap, but it got a bump from the movie. With it getting a bump from the movie, I look at myself, I'm like, dude, kind of kicking myself for giving that away. But it is the effort. I know you were saying that you're worried that we're not going to have new cats joining the hobby. I really just believe that it's going to take more effort on our parts.
Right.
To get new people into the hobby.
I think that we're having, because of the movie success, especially Marvel, I think that you've got more. I don't really want to call them collectors, because they're not what I would consider like a collector, but you got guys that go out and they want to buy that one book that's got that in it, and
dabblers.
That's how they kind of get started. I'm not real sure what you would call them.
I call them dabblers. That's what I call them, because they're dabbling. They're not really full-blown collectors, but you or I or Todd are hoping that they may become collectors, but they're certainly not full-blown collectors yet. And I'm not faulting those guys, man.
No.
Like we were talking about before, collect what you love and collect what you want and what interests you.
That's right.
But don't do this where, kind of like you guys were saying before, most of what you guys sell is keys, minor keys. People aren't doing full runs.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily fault them for that, but on the flip side, you're never going to know if you actually love a character that way unless you're willing to go through and read some of the minutia. A couple of my most favorite books in the entire world are dollar bin books, and if I'm finding them in dollar bins, I'm going to pick them up and I'm going to stack them up, and they're going to be mine.
Right.
And they'll never see anybody else's hands because I love them. That's just the way it is.
Now, Dustin can sell my stuff when I'm dead. I've got a Miracle Man 15 9.8. I told him I wanted it laid on my chest when I'm cremated, and he's like, hell no. I ain't destroying that $1,000 book. To put my reprint on there or something. But back to what you were saying earlier, there's a cat that sets up here in our neighborhood at a flea market, and he's pretty much got a fully functional shop going in there, and he pretty much knows what he's got. But the other day, Dustin pulled the Vengeance of Bang #1 third print out of there, and we sold it to another dealer for 20 times what we gave for it. I mean, because the dealer knew. He's like, man, that's a third print. You don't see that book. The second print's got the big Roman numerals on it. The third print's just got hash marks. You can barely see them. You could mistake a third print for a first print pretty quick. But you can get twice for a third print once you can a first print. Because that's a tough book.
You know what? And the funny part about that is I pulled one of those Vengeance of Banes out of a dollar bin at Vintage Stock, and that's happened within the last 6 months. And kind of like you guys are saying, flipping it quick, man, that thing was flipped same day for like 10 times what I bought it for, and I was giving the guy a favor. I mean, it was no joke, and he was more than happy to fork out the dough for it because he knew he was getting a steal of a deal too. But just like that, I kind of, with my guys locally here, I try and give them a little bit better of a deal, and we, kind of a scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of thing. And that tends to work out pretty well for me. Go ahead.
Oh, we've got a couple of shops that we visit, our good friends run and everything. We do the same thing. If we pick something up at the flea market that we know is their customer stuff, that what they can sell in their store and not necessarily something that we can sell. Right. We'll pick it up and we go up there and they give us a great deal on the stuff that we need, and we give them the stuff that they need. I mean, they might have a book on their wall in there that's been sitting there for a couple months that they can't move, that we know we have a customer for, and we'll say, hey, we found all this vintage Star Wars stuff, and we don't really deal in vintage Star Wars because every show we go to, there's 100 dealers that's got the exact same stuff that you've got to compete price-wise with. And I said, and that's the reason that we don't deal in it. It's not that we don't love Star Wars, and it's not that there's not money in it. But if you go to a toy show, I guarantee you there's going to be 100 dealers there that's got mint on card Star Wars figures. I mean, and a lot of them are, are loose figures. How many toy shows have you ever been to and find, Telescoping Luke loose? How many dealers have that? I mean, that was like the #1 selling figure for Star Wars figures anyway. And every single one of them's going to have one. And one of them's going to be $15, and one of them's going to be $12, and one's going to be $25, and and then you just got customers are going all over trying to get the best deal that they can get. So that we sold out of all our Star Wars stuff. We don't even keep it now.
Right. Well, and just like that, I know that is a concern with anybody who's doing a lot of conventions and stuff, is making sure your audience and your market that way. It's kind of, Todd, I'm gonna ask you here real quick, man, to chime in, because I know that we're kind of monopolizing tonight's show a little bit. But you guys know Todd. A lot of times it's hard to. Oh yeah. So Todd, as somebody same way that the rest here, what do you how do you see the state of the hobby?
Oh, I think it's pretty healthy. When I go onto Facebook and I see the doom and gloom posts and the doom and gloom comments, it's usually because a book came out that somebody can't get.
Yeah.
It might be an old book that they're pissed off they can't get, like Hulk 181. The hobby's going to fail because I can't get Hulk 181. Well, none of us can. Also, like with new books, like something hot comes out, and then the next day it's $20, and that's when all the doom and gloom people come out and say, "Oh, the hobby's failing." Blah, blah, blah. we have more real-time information than we ever did. When I was growing up, I collected sports cards, and I think I started in like 1988. And my dad, he would buy all these boxes of cards because he saw like Mickey Mantles and stuff selling for thousands of dollars. Yeah. And he was thinking he's going to buy these boxes of cards, and 20 years down the road, I'm going to fund my college with that. And that was what everybody was thinking.
Yep.
Right? I mean, there was no rarity. Everybody thought, hey, we're going to jump on this train. And the same thing pretty much I think happened with comic books. I mean, people saw some older comic books selling for a lot of money, and everybody jumped onto that train. And then all of a sudden, boom, it crashed.
Yep. Baseball cards. I was huge into baseball cards.
I never was.
And, and I considered the baseball card boom. And, Todd, I don't know. Me and you's about the same age, I think. So.
Oh, dude, Todd's really old. You might want to double check that.
But I'm not a spring chicken. But from about 87 to about 92 was like the baseball card explosion, because in 87, that was the biggest season for rookie cards in probably baseball history. You had more Hall of Famers that come out. That was a rookie season that broke records in 87. You had Will Clark, you had Barry Bonds,
McGuire.
McGuire. You had all these cards that were in 87, and then in 89 and 90, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
And then the baseball card hobby exploded because, I remember back in the day you could get $100 for a Jose Canseco rookie card. I remember that. I know a guy that had 10 of them and bought a big screen TV. He went and sold them and bought a big screen TV with them.
And that was back when the big screen TV was down.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, hey, man, you're not the only one that I know that a guy that my dad worked with here locally walked in with a stack of sports cards this thick, walked out with a stack of money about that thick, and armloads full of new comic books, or not comic books, but sports cards in sets. He was just turning them over. Now, and so that's kind of where, like for instance, my dad still has, I think it's 92 Skybox.
Yeah.
Not the first year they did Skybox for basketball, but the second year, he still got a wax box of those hanging out. And by God, he's sure that something's going to come of those. I'm like, Dad, I love you, man. Those things are not worth you will be lucky if you get $20 for it.
I remember in the early 90s, a complete set of 90 Upper Deck that had the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card in it. And Upper Deck was it. That was as high a tier as you could get. You had Todds and Donruss and Fleer and all that. Then you had Upper Deck. Well, Upper Deck anymore. Yeah, they still there.
Okay.
But Upper Deck, a full set was like $500 back then, just because I had that Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card in it. A sealed box you could get $500 for, and and now you can't get nothing. I don't know what a Griffey rookie even goes for, but I'm sure it's probably not $100.
I never collected baseball cards. Never was interested in, except for one.
What's that?
I can't remember if it was Billy Ripken or Cal Ripken or the one with the y'all know what I'm talking about with the
LP.
That's the only baseball card I ever cared about. Y'all keep these things, but I like that one.
Me and my dad's got about 10 baseball cards left, and they're in their safe deposit box.
I will tell you the only baseball cards I have left, I have my Bo Jacksons left because I am a honk for that guy as far as, dude, he did stuff that a mortal human being is not supposed to be able to do.
No.
And then my son's name is Nolan, and all of my Nolan Ryan ball cards I've got for him, and they're his. He's old enough. They're his.
Nolan Ryan rookie card would just about pay your house payment.
Well, it used to, but you know what, man? Honestly, just like a lot of it, it has come down considerably, and the reason why is because more so. And I know I'm going to shift this back to comics.
Yeah,
but I will say the sports card market is almost exclusively speculation right now.
Yes.
yeah,
Either
if it's
speculation or ridiculously high end as far as retail price out of the box.
Yep.
You're paying $300 to $400 for a single pack, but that single pack is going to then have guaranteed autograph game used blah 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 in it that's numbered to 25 or less.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter on that is, if you didn't get the one or two dudes that were rookies for that year, you blew that couple $100 for nothing.
Yeah, it's like buying a lottery ticket.
It's 100% like buying a lottery ticket. Now you guys were talking about old school cards. I'm gonna show this off. This is a garage sale find that I found the other day
sweet
for $8 and has the poster in it.
Oh. Yeah,
Sweet.
you got lucky. I'm a huge Simpsons fan.
Dude, I loved it, man. I'm like, the only reason, because this is well over a week old that I found this, and I'll tell you right now, dude, the only reason it's still in my house is because there's a part of me that kind of wants to sit here and nerd out and open them all up. What it boils down to. I know I could like double my money on it, and like you say, that's not huge. It's $20 is about what it would go for in my flea market booth. But the truth is, like we were talking about, you know, sports cards in the 90s, comic books in the 90s. What really happened since then that makes me think that we don't have a shot of having that hobby-wide collapse like what we had before is we have the advent of eBay.
Right.
I can go on and check that price on eBay and know. Now, mind you, I'm normally not the guy that's like, I'm going to pull up my phone here right in front of you. You have it listed for $8. I can sell it for 20. Sold. I'm not doing that. But on something like that, I kind of had a gut feeling that $8 was a little short on it. And so I went ahead and picked it up and took a small gamble, double my money. And it's like I tell my kids, you can't go broke if you're making a profit, you know? But on the flip side, like you say, I think eBay has made it where you're not going to see comic book shops show up kind of like they were back in the day where they're
popping up every other week. Yep.
Yeah. Well, but you're also not going to see the ones that are existing right now show up with that, you know, Oblivion song #1 and be like, I only have one of these on the shelf and it's $150 because it's the only one you have access to. Yes, you heard the same rumors I did. It's $150 for you here. Okay, well then the kid does go on eBay and realize, hey, you know what? They're in that $30 to $40 range. $150 is way too much. They're also
Oblivion song #1 bringing $30 to $40.
The pink signature is.
Oh.
Now I'll tell you, we talked about this a couple weeks back. The one that came with the statue, that's the one to have because there's less than 1,000 of those. You grab those in a 9.8, or if you get the pink signature ones.
Yep. Yeah.
Not
unstamped free comic book day umbrella academies. Those things bring in big money.
See, and just like that, and I give all the credit in the world to my daughter and her friends who got into Umbrella Academy because Gerard Way, and he's some kind of singer somewhere. Yeah. My daughter is
romance or something.
Yeah.
It's like audible laxative.
I like him.
Dude, what's the name of the group, Todd?
My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance.
Romance. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's one of those deals. They're not really my thing.
Also said they were audible laxative.
Yeah. They but so I was hunting in dollar bins for those before there was any kind of talk of Netflix or anything like that. I picked them up at 50 cents a piece, man.
Yeah.
And so talk about a killing, but the
Yeah.
downside is around here, there weren't hardly any of them. There were just a few.
Yeah.
So you know.
That's funny that you bring that up because, you know, your daughter was a fan of Gerald Way and went out and bought comic books, right? And now J.J. Abrams is writing a book with his son. I mean, maybe the comic book industry needs more people like that writing books. They need to take chances on people like that to bring other youths into the hobby.
The Utes?
Youths, yeah.
Your Honor?
I'm Southern now.
Dude, well, hey, look, I'm for them taking some chances. Kind of like we talked about though before too. I think Kickstarter and crowdfunding is going to be the way that you start to see a lot of these guys who are willing to take those chances go. Look, I talked to Robbie Rist about it, and basically he is, and you know, for people who don't remember, he was Cousin Arnold in the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
He has voiced somebody's
He was on Kid Video.
Yes.
He was on
Sharknado. Sharknado. He does a lot of voice acting stuff too. He was one of the voice actors in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. I want to say it was Michelangelo. I want to say one of our shell heads is going to definitely murder me if I'm not right on that. So it's cool. But anyway, he's talking about and he's talking about doing a comic book himself. And I asked him, I'm like, you know, you've got the connections. Are you going to try and go some way like Image or something like that? And he's like, why would I? Crowdfunding, man.
Yeah.
It's like very, very little risk. I don't have to worry about an editor that way that's going to neuter my story. I can be as creative as I want to be. And so I do think that we're in the middle of the hobby morphing from where it currently is to something not completely different, but something very different than what we were used to in our teenage years.
Right.
Just like, go ahead.
I'm going to tell you, we're witnessing conventions become cosplay. That's all it is. Dragon Con is now nothing but cosplay. And cosplayers you can't have vendors or anything but cosplay, because cosplayers do not spend money. They don't have pockets. Mommy dropped them off in the parking lot with
$20 for lunch.
Gave them $20 for lunch, and they go and they pay to get in, and that's it. They want as much as they can get for free, and they just want to talk and take pictures, and they cosplayers do not spend money at comic book conventions.
I will tell you there are 3 different cons here locally that I have experience with. Vision Con, I will tell you that they promote themselves as a pop culture con. So if you're going there expecting comic books, that's the wrong con for you.
Yeah.
But
Right.
they did have 4 vendors with comic books, and unfortunately I did not spend very much on comic books there. I spent more on art, more on prints there, because that was what was more available to me there. But a lot of cosplayers, and we have friends around that are cosplayers and stuff like that. And yeah, I believe that cosplayers going to cons is more for their exposure. Now the other one,
it's all about him. But now we're glad to have them. We're glad to have their admission. We are, but we take them over in a different area where we can have room for spending customers for. One girl said on our thing, well, that looks like a shopping thing. And we're like, what? It looks like a shopping thing? I said, no, lady, I promise you, we're a comic book convention. I know that you're a cosplayer and you're not going to spend any money, but there's going to be stuff there. There's going to be other cosplayers there for you to talk to, you know, and not spend money.
Well,
it's going to be okay. You can come and not spend money, but you're gonna pay to get in.
Right, right. Well, and see, like the other one that I've done this year was Branson Con,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like what you guys are talking about, where it was segmented, where the comic books were in their area, and I could stand there and dig through dollar bins if I wanted to, and did. And then there was also a cosplay area and an artist area, and it was segmented, and you could see that they kind of milled around with. Now they walked up and down the aisles, but not even stopping to really look at the comic books. And I mean, look, dude, one of the ladies was dressed as the Batman Returns Catwoman. And so, yeah, she's not going to have any way to that kind of thing. So not, you know what to expect there. But on the flip side, Branson Con was good in the way that they did it, segmenting it out that way, I think, because it did allow people who wanted to be where they wanted to go. You know, they were there, and they were doing what they expected to be getting done. Now, the last one that I've done, I haven't done it yet this year because it's coming up in this next month, is a con called Rubicon. Rubicon is almost exclusively toys and comic books. There are cosplayers there, but the cosplayers are a side portion of it. And man, I'm telling you what, you go in there, the admission fee is low, the table rent is relatively reasonable, and it's packed. And with it being packed that way, you better kind of, you better deodorant up, make sure you showered. You might want to take some of that Vicks Vapor Rub and rub it in your mustache a little bit, so you ain't got to worry about somebody else's lack of hygiene. But man, I go through there, and that's where I love to be at personally. That's my favorite con, because I know I'm going in there and I'm going to get a piece of artwork done by an artist. I'm going to get to dig through comic books.
You have a good time.
Yeah, man. Just have a good time doing that hustle.
Well, I think if you put the word con at the end, then you got to understand that it's probably going to be a cosplay festival. Right. And the one good thing about Comic Cons and the way that they are is you go down Artist Alley and you see guys like Jerry Conway and guys like Bob McLeod, and there's no line. There's nobody. And pretty much they're all signing for free. So in a way, that's kind of like a win for us comic book guys.
It is.
Because okay, all the cosplayers, they can go off and do whatever they want. I don't care. Go take pictures, talk to each other. I'm there for Bob McLeod. I'm there for Jerry Conway. I want those signatures, and not having to wait in line is a beautiful thing. Now, I've seen Shane and Dustin a bunch of times at comic book shows. And the comic book shows, they usually, I think it's like the Hilton up in Atlanta. And, those are more dedicated to us comic book collectors. So you go in there, and there's tables full of comic books, and everybody's there to buy things. So, you almost got to distinguish between we have Comic Cons, we have Dragon Con, and then you got, we might have to come up with our own name, like, basically show.
Yeah. I hate it. Like our show, we advertise. It's Cartersville Comic Con, and we got, I think we had close to 150 in our cosplay contest last year, and it just exploded. The year before, we had like 22 people in our cosplay contest, and then it exploded. And then this year, there's no telling what it'll be this year.
Yeah.
But what I feel bad about is, and when we're set up at a show, I don't like to see it either, but I understand it. But see, our cosplay contest is set up in a 300-seat theater, and it's separate from our vendor room. Well, when we announce that, we start announcing about 30 minutes before it starts, and all the people that are in the vendor room just start filing out and go into the theater, and you kind of look around in the vendor room, and there's like maybe 50 people in there, but the 50 people that are in there are the ones that's in there spending money.
Right.
You know, because they're in there, they're hardcore collectors. They don't care nothing about what somebody's wearing, and they stay in there and spend money. But I hate to see the vendor room just leak down like that. So we try to run through it pretty quick, and ours lasts less than an hour. And that's where we want to try to keep it. And when we released them last year out of the theater when the cosplay contest was over, I was sitting there at the double door when they opened the double doors for them to come back in to the vendor room. It was just a steady line of people. I mean, that theater was filled full of people. It was like standing room only, pretty much.
And we had customers. I didn't get to go to the cosplay contest because I was running our booth, and we had plenty. We had 2,000 customers, cash spending customers. Now, a lot of now not a lot, but some shows are starting to ban cosplay. They are. They're starting to ban it because they don't spend money. Yes, it is a shopping thing, lady. It's a shopping thing. Those dealers that are paying money for the tables to be there in order for us to pay the rent on the building that you're standing in, they want money. If they're not making money, they're not ever coming back, and they're going to badmouth you and everything else and say it's nothing but a cosplay contest or a cosplay show. We went to one here not long ago, and it was every show we have ever done in our lives, we have done well. This was the first. Not only did we not make any money whatsoever, we lost money. That show cost us money. It cost us several $1,000s.
The way that it was set up, it was set up for the dealers was not great at all because they had it at a really nice upscale hotel. Well, you look for, your room rate for a vendor or whatever to stay at this hotel was like over $200 a night.
And you had to pay for everything.
Then
every time you parked.
Every time you went there that day to vend, we stayed off campus, I guess you could say, about 2 blocks away at another hotel. And every day we would drive over because it would be raining or the weather was not good, and we couldn't walk or anything. And Shane's not able to really walk that much. But it cost us like $13 a day to park. And this was like a 3-day show. And $13 is not a lot, but when Friday night come and we literally, or Friday all day long, I think we made almost $30.
If that. That is
all day on Friday.
Liberal. That's a very liberal.
And I mean, we wound up having to leave early on Sunday because my grandmother passed away.
We got a phone call at 6:30 in the morning. But Nanny had died.
But we left down there. I don't think we did $300 in sales.
No, we could not have it. It's impossible.
And let's be real here. Sunday is going to be a low day anyway. If you get $100 or so on a Sunday, that's icing on the. It better be icing on the cake. Otherwise, you're just hoping for gas money to get home at that point.
Yeah. That's why we'll always be a 1-day show. We'll never go to 2 or 3 days. It's not going to happen. One and done. Load in, load out. Actually, you can load in on Friday night. That is,
Yeah, we like to load in on Friday night. That helps the dealers a lot. And they only have to stay like one night if they're from out of town.
Yeah.
Right.
This year, I'm going around shopping. I'm gonna go around and buy me some books.
You're gonna go around helping me run the show. You ain't gonna be shopping. You just think you are.
I plan on it. We'll see what happens. I mean that Friday night.
I'm gonna be screaming at you through the walkie-talkie every 5 minutes.
Oh man.
I always dig people's dollar boxes and $2 boxes because I bought 3 first appearances of Hydro Man out of a guy's dollar box and sold them for $50-$60 a piece. I always dig people's dollar box, and it Friday night is when to do that because they're going to set their dollar boxes and stuff up. They may not set their wall up, but they can in our show because we have armed guards.
Right. Well, And it's funny you say that because they're both of the first appearance Damian Hellstroms that I own from cons out of dollar bin boxes because I mean, nobody was thinking anything about Son of Satan at the time that I was digging through those. And I'm like, I know this is a first appearance. It's a pretty cool cover. I'm snagging those for $1 a piece. Man, I'm not letting that slide.
Do you consider the Marvel Spotlights his first appearance or Ghost Rider 1 and 2?
No, the Spotlight is the one that I consider, and the reason I do is because, and I know that this is kind of one of those deals where it's a little up in the air that he's got multiple cameo appearances.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you squished all of those cameos into one book, okay, then you've got a legit first appearance.
Yeah, you got Ghost Rider 1, which is a cameo.
Yeah.
And then 2 is really a cameo, but he's in costume.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Spotlight 12 is the first time you really see him both ways.
Yeah. So 12 is really his first appearance.
Yeah.
That's
full.
I would consider it first full.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about is pulling those out of there. And man, like I say, that's a book that's heating up. That's one of them but it's not heating up to the point that I don't expect to still occasionally find it in dollar bins or $5 or less.
The one we just sold last night.
Russell Whitfield.
Oh yeah.
We sold one last night that the staple had rusted completely out of it. And we told them, we were like, yeah, that staple's gone. And rusty staples that can't grade above a 4.0, but when they don't even have rusty staples in it
This
anymore.
is gone.
But we still got good money for it. We
got $10.
Yeah, it's heating up for some reason. It's heating up.
Well, he's getting his own TV series.
Yeah,
he has a TV series on Hulu.
We did have a 9.8 copy of that, but it went years ago.
Well, and so guys, we're getting close to that hour part of this. What's that now?
Yeah, I said I'm burning up. I'm just pouring.
You're pouring. Well, I tell you what.
I'm not bored. Pouring sweat. No, I'm not bored, John. You guys are exhilarating.
Right on, man.
Thrilled. I'm over here bouncing my leg.
It's like it's Todd's fault, man. He does that to men and women alike.
Yeah.
Dude, got me hotter than Georgia asphalt.
Yeah.
That's hot. That's hot.
Well, I tell you what, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up for this week, but I'm gonna give you guys each final thought. We'll just try and do final thoughts. It doesn't have to be about what we talked about. Just something that's nerd or comic book related. Definitely, we want you to continue to pub your con too, because that's something that definitely helps to strengthen. Yes, definitely helps to strengthen the comic book community. Y'all send me one of those shirts, and
yes, we will.
I'll wear it on the podcast.
What size you need?
Do you do 4 or 5?
I've got 5X. I'm a big boy too. I'm a big old tall boy too.
You're my kind of guy, dude. I'm telling you, man. If we hug, it'll look like 2 gorillas.
Us rubbing together to start a forest. I'm a natural born comedian, man.
You're right on, man.
Guys,
I know.
So much fun with you guys tonight. I found Beastmaster the movie today, and we were watching it, and we were thrilled. We hadn't seen that since the 80s. And we were watching. I was like, oh, my God, where's my phone? I said, I promised the boys that we'd do that podcast. And, I was spot on. I was just on time.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, man.
That was a God moment, definitely.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, too, but we're going to have you guys back on.
Please do.
But next time you guys are on, we're going to have to see the angry girlfriend variant that you guys got running around. I
can grab it right quick.
Is it close?
Yeah.
It's in that.
Dude. Okay. So for anybody who is not aware of what we're talking about here, the Angry Girlfriend variant is possibly the most amazing conversation piece I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's a classic. That is
you may not know you've seen it. It is basically taken on a life of its own through social media. As far as I'm telling you, that's another one of those things, kind of like our subject tonight. Probably every 2 months or so, I see that thing pop up, and it's people I know don't know you guys. They're like, man, this guy must have pissed this girl off good. So good. So good.
And dude, it's an 8.0. It would have graded an 8.0 if she hadn't done that to it. You just short a $5,000.
I wish that you could see the inside of it. We got pictures of it somewhere we'd have to find where she doodled on it and everything. I mean, she just took like that big. I mean, she had to go through a page and just go up and down with that black marker and everything, draw mustaches on people and stuff. And
but see, you're saying that she ruined a $5,000 comic book. That's one of a kind.
Yeah,
that's
it would take $5,000 to get it from me.
Oh no, I don't doubt that at all. But if somebody was going to give you $5,000 for it, which, like I say, if the wife was like, yeah, we got 5 G's, you just do whatever you want with it, I'd consider it, because I love conversation piece items like that, man. And that's one of them where it's like, dang, that's one of a kind.
I can't believe it graded a 1.8. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
that's a high grade.
Yeah, and it got restored on top of that. It said it had color touch on the cover. So no crap. It's got black marker that goes over black line and black color and everything else there. So she amateur
restoration.
Really amateur.
Notice it. Yeah, we didn't notice that black marker on it at all. We wouldn't have sent it in to get graded if we'd noticed that.
See if I can get close enough where you can see it.
Wow.
Yeah, I see it right there, restored.
Amateur restoration for real.
Slight amateur restoration is what it is.
The grader's notes on this weighs 2 pounds.
Dude, that's amazing. That's so good. All right, well that's my final thoughts for this evening is getting to see that book. I don't need final thoughts on that. Guys, go ahead and lay your final thoughts on us tonight.
I mean, how we started out. I mean, my final thoughts. I mean, I'm like Todd. I think our hobby is actually doing pretty well. It's pretty healthy. I mean, we make a living doing it and doing shows. I mean, you have these dabblers like we were talking about earlier, and they come up and they want a certain key issue or they want this and that. And everything. The only thing that I'm scared of is the people that are investing huge amounts in these what I call flavor of the week. Yeah. This book comes out. Okay, everybody remembers the Red Goblin explosion. Yeah. Spider-Man 798. Yeah. When that hit, everybody remembers that. I mean, and those books were going for huge money. How much could you get for one right now? I mean, people that spent hundreds of dollars for these books. How much could you get for one?
I remember people saying that they literally bought the 9.8 pre-screen graded for the variant cover, sold that, and then bought a 9.8 of the cover it was being tributed for. Yeah. That doesn't make any freaking sense to me at all. Now, the people who are doing that and making a little bit of money at it, I'm a capitalist, I'm cool with. On the flip side, common sense doesn't make any to me.
But think about the collectors. Think about the actual collectors that bought into it and bought and spent this money on these books. And that's where I'm worried, is that people are getting too involved in the flavors of the week or the flavors of the month, and they're spending their life savings on books speculating that it's going to hold water for the next 25 to 30 years, and maybe when I retire, I can sell this book and me and my wife can go to Hawaii or something. Well, 25 years from now, you're Spider-Man 798. Unless they bring him back and he's, somehow or another, they do some kind of story and he's like the main villain, like Green Goblin, a 798 is not even going to pay you enough gas to go to the convenience store.
That first appearance of Normie Osborn jumped from a $1 book up to a $50 book, then back down to a $1 book. But my final thought is this, guys. Watch these apps that y'all are using that's telling y'all these are keys, this is key, that's key.
Or this is the hot book. This is the hot book
because they're being paid to tell you that. It's a solid fact. I can prove it. The man that told me is one of the most connected people on this planet, comic book people on this planet. And I'm telling you, I will not mention any names, but watch them apps because they're dirty.
Yeah, don't just buy a book because somebody says it's a hot.
An app tells you to.
That it's hot.
Don't be the fool because they're getting paid. Because these new books that have come out, these artificially generated collectibles, artificially created collectibles, somebody is paying them to make that. So,
and the old saying says, if it says collector's issue on it, it's trash.
It's trash.
How many of those books do you see that hold any water?
Oh yeah, well, and that's the general rule from anything in the 90s. Whenever it says collector's item on it, basically it's worthless. My story on that one is my mom and dad had a Hillary Clinton doll from the Clinton from when Bill was from the 90s. And I tried to tell them, you all need to sell it right now while she's running for president, because there's some hype back to it. Get your money back out. And their words to me was, wait till she's elected. It'll be worth more.
My mother called me and told me, she said, you better find out what precinct you need to vote at. She said, you better go vote for him or Hillary's going to get it. We do not need that. And I was like, okay, Mama. And my mama has passed now. I'd give anything to have another conversation with her. But, my mama called me. She said, you better get out and go vote. And I said, I'm going to vote.
But I want to show some of these new guys and stuff getting into the hobby. This is the kind of stuff that when you go buy stuff to collect, this is what's going to hold water 50 years down the road.
Hawk number 3.
You go buy whatever's off of the shelf, this new book that's hot this week that you can get $100 for, you better sell it that day.
Yeah.
When you buy collectors stuff that you want to collect, and stuff, this is what you want.
Right? Oh, yeah.
That's what you should aspire to. That's what you want.
Yeah. That's what you should aspire to. I don't.
That is the first appearance of Captain America in the Silver Age. It predates Avengers number 4 by 8 months.
Huh.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. True story.
I bet that's undervalued though too, isn't it?
It's very undervalued. Yeah. But it's going in the safe, so by the time we sell it, it'll be called.
It's also the first solo Doctor Strange story.
It's the first solo.
Oh, right on.
Now you need to email some of these apps and tell them that predates the Avengers book, and then they'll update that information for you, and your book will be worth more.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, this book is still. It sells for a good bit anyway.
Yes,
it's a very desirable book.
Yeah.
But also, I flipped through this. Because it's low enough to read, I was able to read it, and a neat little bit of information in here. Captain America throughout the whole book. You see him on the cover. He looks like Cap. Okay. Yeah. Throughout the entire book, he's wearing red shorts.
Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and spill it. That's not Steve Rogers.
It's not.
That's
Steve.
the fill-in guy because Captain America books were still selling even after the Golden Age and everything. So that's the guy. There was a Cap and a Bucky. So it's the other Cap. But it's still the first appearance of Captain America in the Silver Age.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
It is what it is.
That when you buy books, I mean, look, I mean, when you're gonna go spend $100 on a new variant, go drop some. Go drop $100
on something like that.
On something like this, even if it's low grade, because years down the road, that's what's gonna hold the value.
Yeah.
Low grade is better than no grade.
Exactly. That's like my granny used to say. That chicken may be tough, but it's tougher than none. It's better than none.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, Todd, let's get your final thoughts for this week in the state of the hobby, or whatever you want to chat at us about, man.
Well, I actually use one of the apps when I go to the comic shop, and I do appreciate the fact that they do provide some of this information. Now, I'm an informed consumer. So, I mean, first of all, you have to be an informed consumer. These apps, they're helpful, but they're just, you can't rely on them 100%. You have to use your own brain.
Right.
So like, exactly. Looking at these apps, you'll see first appearance of, some minor character. You can't get all excited and go crazy and spend crazy money. Right. The other thing is, a book's going to come out and it's going to be hot for like 3 weeks. And then people are going to forget about it because the next hot book's going to come out.
Yeah.
So, like, don't get so caught up in it that you're spending $100 like a day after the book came out. Like, Marvel Comic Presents number 6 came out, and people are spending $35, $40. But I guarantee you, like, if you wait maybe like a month, it's going to be a $10 book.
Yeah.
So, people just got to chill out a little bit, use your own brain, and like Shane and Dustin said, if you want to spend some crazy money, look for the old keys, the things that are actually rare, and pick up stuff like that. So, I mean, that's my final thoughts. I love the comic industry. I love the way that things are going. It is exciting when you get to go to a shop and you pick up a book and you look on eBay and right after you pick it up, it's worth $30. But if you didn't get that book, give it a couple weeks, just like they were saying about Red Goblin the first appearance of Red Goblin. Give it a couple weeks, and you'll be able. It's going to come down. The excitement, the business cycle, it goes up and then it comes down, and then it goes up and it comes down. And I mean, don't buy at the up, buy at the down.
Yep. There's a time to buy and a time to sell.
Yeah.
Even with Hulk 181, we were discussing that the other day. If you look at Hulk 181 over the past 25 years, if you look at the sales, you can see a steady climb. But if you zoom in on that, that what looks like a steady line has ups and downs. Yeah. Ups and downs. I mean, well, what was it, about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe last year, toward the end of the year, something like that, Hulk 181s were selling for ridiculous amounts, which is still ridiculous. But, like a 5.0 was pushing $3,000. Yeah. And now it's settled back down to where, 3.0s around $2,000 to $2,200, which is still a lot of money, but it has fallen that much. It's come back down. The market has settled. And I think somebody was artificially inflating the market.
And to me, Wolverine, Hulk 181 is not the book to buy. Giant Size X-Men 1 is. That's the true first appearance of Wolverine. That's the first appearance of Wolverine we know and love. That Wolverine and Hulk 181 didn't even have claws. Those were in his gloves. So, or that's what they say. I don't know.
Well, he had whiskers too and stuff like that. Like it was not exactly like you say, not the Wolverine that everybody thinks of as even classic Wolverine.
Giant Size X-Men 1. Get you one of them.
Oh, hey, and those are.
We've sold 5 in the past month, so But that book just comes to us. We get that book. We're lucky on that one.
I tell you what, I know a fellow who's looking for one all the time. So, unfortunately, it's not me. I'm not that kind of heavy hitter. So, but anyway,
we sold one about 2 days ago that was low grade. But anyway, guys, we love you and we need you, and we thank y'all for letting us, promote our stuff and.
Well, it's thanks for coming out and talk.
Be excellent to each other.
Heck yeah, brother.
Yeah.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
All right, we'll wrap this one up then.
All right, buddy.
Have a good, be good, guys.
All right.
All right, guys.
Y'all have a good
Stop.
night. Peace.